And good evening, everyone, and welcome into the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm your host, Russ Renault, and we're going to do things a little bit different tonight as we have got the main event on right now. Obviously, we can't show it to you, but we can talk about it. So I am going to give you play-by-play tonight between Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier live from UFC 302 in Newark, New Jersey. Just introducing Islam right now. So let me get situated over here. Let me move over just a little bit. And it's going to be a little bit awkward because this microphone might be in the way. But, you know, this is kind of a better deal that we can do. But we're just about ready to get to it right now. So sit back and relax with me. So we've got Makhachev and Poirier just touch gloves in the middle. Poirier in Hawaiian print trunks. And obviously Makhachev in the black and gold. And kind of different for this event. Both fighters with gold gloves. So it's kind of cool to see it for the first time with both fighters actually in gold. So we're underway now, about 10 seconds in. And obviously we'll get to everything that happened previously tonight. Right after this fight, we'll run down, do our normal show. But I want to do this part going live tonight for the main event, talk about it with you here. So if you got a comment, just leave it there in the chat. I'm kind of got my hands full here watching from the side and obviously got this angle. So kind of get both fighters going at it right here a little bit. Makhachev gets a takedown of Poirier at the 420 mark. So 40 seconds in, Makhachev on top. Right next to the fence. Not a lot of strikes in there yet. Makhachev just trying to get arm position. Poirier's got a foot up against the cage. Got a half mount by Makhachev. So hopefully there's a little more action to this fight than what's going on right now. Like I said, this kind of looks like, you know, a little bit of the first Volkanovski fight with Makhachev obviously controlling the fight, but not really doing any damage as he, you know, works his way, trying to get a submission, trying to armbar Poirier right there. Still got the right arm of Poirier trying to lock in that arm bar now. It's got the triangle in. It doesn't have the arms locked in, but it's trying to flatten Poirier out. Islam is trying to get underneath that chin, trying to work the head, get some strikes in on the head, make Poirier defend that, and then grab a hold of the chin. So now, about halfway through the first round now. 2:20 left. Makhachev still in that triangle. Makhachev has a gash in his left eye. So I guess Poirier caught him early on with a shot. Now covering up the mouth and nose of Poirier. He's got 1:50 left here in round one. So once again, you're watching the UFC Fight Cards podcast, and we're coming live from the main event for the first time doing this. Sorry the microphone's in the way. Didn't have time to position it any differently, but you probably don't really care about seeing me anyway. At least you can hear me and we talk about the fight. We'll get to the rest of the card. We'll talk about the schedule coming up as Islam keeps trying to work the head of Poirier. Poirier is trying to get out of this triangle. There's really been no threat of a submission or Poirier being in any danger here in the first round, other than just being caught in the triangle. So under a minute to go now. And just a little hand fighting. See the ground control time showing up on the broadcast. Over 3.5 minutes for Islam. And I can't have any sound, can't show you anything, obviously, with ESPN. But we can talk about it. So if you have anything to add, just let me know. Just throw it there in the chat and we'll talk about it as we go along. I'll look at any questions, any comments in between rounds. We can kind of talk about that a little bit. So almost to the end of round 1, and there is the horn. I can't hear it either. I have the sound off, but let's talk about that. Round 1 goes to Islam. Not real pretty. Not a whole lot of damage either. But Poirier's got to stay on his feet a little bit longer than that. So that's almost 4 minutes of control time for Islam there in the first round. So obviously going to give that to him. But we'll talk about it later. We've seen some crazy things with the judges tonight. I mean, I don't know if so many things were crazy, except for that. I mean, Cormier and Rogan were talking about it being crazy. I don't know that things were so crazy until that co-main event. That one was pretty wild. But the other ones were, okay, you had a bad round, but that last one was somebody had a bad fight. But yeah, that first shot from Poirier really caught Islam in the eye. It really, if he can work on that, it really got a good shot in on Islam early. But then just got taken down. So need more of that from Poirier to kind of defend that takedown. So here we go, round 2. So I'll get back here. Like I said, sorry I can't show you more. Sorry that you can't see me more. But another takedown attempt by Islam. It's got Poirier gets out of it. So I think that this looks like Islam he doesn't want to stand around and bang with Poirier. I think he knows that Poirier is probably the better striker. He knows he's a better wrestler. But that's where Poirier is going to be dangerous, is in the striking department. So Islam goes for a knee. They break up. They're still on their feet. 1 minute into round 2. In the middle of the octagon right now. Not a whole lot of strikes being exchanged. Islam goes for the single leg. He's got Poirier's right leg. Poirier fights that off again. It's a good job by Poirier this time to avoid that. But really hasn't been able to mount any of his own offense except for that first strike in the first round. Dancing around the middle of the octagon there. Like I said, just not a lot of throwing. There's a good shot by Poirier. Gets in a right hand. Good right by Islam. 1-2 by Islam. Nothing real damaging though. Seems like both fighters kind of throw and kind of tentative, like they think that something else is being set up and something else is coming. And I mean, Poirier is trying to guard from that takedown. Throws a right hand. Another single leg takedown attempt by Islam. This one goes up against the fence. Poirier fights that one off as well. Just hand fighting up against the fence right now. Islam on the inside. Poirier with his back up against the cage. Now Poirier flips it around with 1:35 to go in the second. Poirier with a good body shot. Now an uppercut. Now Poirier fights off Makhachev. Touches him on the nose a little bit with the right hand. Hard right hand by Poirier. Minute to go, just under a minute to go now in round 2. Poirier looking a little bit better offensively here in the second round. I think it's pretty close. So we got to see how this one finishes over the last 45 seconds. I think Poirier wants him in close because he lets Islam get in close and then hits him in the body. A nice right hand there. Poirier's got him backing up. And big left hand by Poirier. Goes to the body some more. 20 seconds left. Islam trying for a takedown. I don't think that's going to win the round with that much time left. Does get the takedown, but with 12 seconds left, tries to get a few shots in. Coming down the end of the round with under 5 seconds to go, and that'll do it. So with that little flurry by Poirier there with about a minute and a half left, I think he took that round. So on my account, we're tied up at a round apiece. So 19-19 going into round number 3. It was a good job by Poirier, landing the shots, defending the takedowns. Islam didn't get one until right there at the end with 12 seconds left. So didn't have to fight that off. So really good job by Poirier to even up this fight on my account. But who knows what the judges saw. And I can't hear anything commentators are saying. I have the sound muted, don't want to get in trouble with ESPN and YouTube and all that. So just getting my opinion on this stuff. I'm not hearing Cormier and Anik and Joe Rogan talking about this. So here we go with round 3. And we are underway now. If we do go to a decision, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute my microphone so that the sound doesn't come in. I'm going to turn it up so I can hear the judge's decision. Then I'll come back and we'll talk about it. And we'll have our full show like we normally would. And we'll go through the rest of the card. We'll talk about this fight, and then we'll talk about the rest of the card. There's a knee by Makhachev. Right hand. Now, Islam looks like he's willing to box a little bit more here in the third round, but now going for a takedown. Knows he's just not going to be able to rush in on Poirier and get that takedown. He's going to have to work for it, and he does. He got Poirier down on a knee up against the fence. Blood pouring out the left nostril of Poirier. Makhachev trying to get those hooks in. So Islam trying to take the back right now with under 4 minutes to go in the third round. He's got that triangle in. Unable to get underneath the chin. Just gets a few strikes in on the head of Poirier. Now pushes him down to the mat. Now Islam on his back has got Poirier in the triangle trying to go for that rear naked choke. Blood just gushing out of Poirier's nose. This looks a lot like the first round, where Islam got that early takedown and controlled Poirier for the rest of that round. So now right at 3 minutes to go in round number 3. So Islam now trying to get to the neck. Poirier trying to sit up now, try to get out of this triangle. Now Makhachev turning over. Let's go to the triangle. Now full mount. So halfway through round number 3 now. So Poirier gets out of it. Now they're back on their feet. 2 minutes to go. Poirier egging on Islam, yelling at him. He's ready to go. Looks like that eye is closing. I gotta see which eye that is. The right eye of Poirier is closing up. Now a minute and a half to go in round 3. Still on their feet. Poirier on the inside. Makhachev on the outside. It's a leg kick thrown by Poirier. Poirier talking to Islam. Or himself. I don't know which. A good right hand by Islam. Poirier having trouble seeing out of the left eye now. Trying to wipe from his left eye. Poirier's got blood out of the nose, out of the eye. But gets in a good right hand. Both fighters in the middle with 20 seconds left. Poirier coming forward. And that's the end of the third round. They're head to head there. A sign of respect. I mean, they went at it there. I'm going to give that one to Islam. So Islam up 2 rounds to 1 on my account here after round number 3. Got that takedown. Really did the most damage to Poirier that he has the whole fight. Didn't do much damage in round 1, but a lot of damage here in round 3. Got him in the nose, and Poirier started leaking out of the nose. You see that right eye is not as swollen as I thought it was. Just caught it on my TV a little bit differently. They are trying to get that swelling down in that right eye. They're working on him in between rounds. Oh, and that was a headbutt that opened up Poirier's nose. So that was a clash of heads. Inadvertent, but they show it on the replay. So Islam's head was what busted Poirier's nose open. That really affected the rest of that round. I didn't realize it at the time. That's what happened. It was pretty vicious head clash there, right up into Poirier's nose. So hopefully that stoppage in the in between rounds did him some good. So back at it here in round 4. Like I said, I think Islam's up 2 rounds to 1 right now. Man, he really benefited from that head to the nose. I mean, I'm not gonna hide it. I'm going for Poirier in this fight. I mean, my wife's from South Louisiana, so I love Lafayette. So you just got to go for Poirier here. I don't have anything really against Islam at all. It's just Poirier is one of our guys. They're trading here in the middle. Nothing real significant yet. Minute in. Knee by Makhachev. Another takedown attempt that Poirier stuffs. Good body shot by Poirier. Good combo by Islam. Another good combo by Islam. Another takedown attempt, and Poirier stuffs it for now. They're up against the cage. Under 3 minutes to go. Islam's got that hold on Poirier, but nothing being done right now. Just trying to take him down, but he can't get it. Now picks him up and tries to get to his back, stuffs another takedown, and finally gets it. Poirier on his knees, Islam trying to get on his back. Poirier's got that left hand grounded. Two minutes to go here in round 4. Islam on the back of Poirier. Poirier trying to stand up. So Poirier's got both hands grounded right now. So Islam can't knee him in the head. Got a mistake there by Islam. Good shot by Poirier. As they get back to their feet, Islam with his back against the cage. Poirier taking some shots at the body. Swinging away on Islam at the body. And now they're back to the middle. Trading blows in the middle of the octagon right now. There's blood on Makhachev's face. I don't know if it's his or Poirier's. Still leaking from his nose. Islam goes for another takedown, but he's got Poirier up against the fence. 40 seconds to go. Islam's just standing there holding on to Poirier. Poirier looking at the commentators saying he's not doing anything to me. 15 seconds to go here in the 4th round. And that's the way this one's going to end, just with Islam holding on. I don't know. If that's Islam's blood, then the most damage done in that round was by Poirier. So they're working on Islam in the corner. Yeah, that's a nasty cut. So they're trying to close that up. So I don't think Islam did any damage with the takedowns. And Poirier gets an elbow right to his forehead. And that's what opened up the cut. So let's see. I don't know. I think if you go on damage, then Poirier won this round. So I'm going to go on that. That's what it's supposed to be. So 2 rounds apiece right now. So 38-38 on my scorecard anyway. So we'll see. 5th and final round. I could also see them giving Islam that last round. I think the first 2 were pretty clear, but that's a pretty sick cut. Poirier's got to go to work on that. So here, the 5th round, I think Poirier's got to do more than Islam does. Because I think you could make a case for Islam in round 4. I think he pretty clearly won 1 and 3. I think Poirier won 2 and maybe 4. But Poirier's got to go for a finish here, I think, just to take it out of these judges' hands. Yeah, Islam's already bloody. Poirier's just looking for his spot. Islam going for the takedown, goes for the single leg in the middle of the octagon. Islam in the clinch, gets a knee to the body. Uppercut by Poirier, elbow. Pushes him off. He wants to go to work on that cut. It's right on Islam's forehead, right above the left eye. Poirier telling Islam to bring it. A right hand by Poirier. Our combo ended with a knee by Islam. In the center of the octagon with just over 3 minutes to go. Poirier goes for a big right hand. Islam with a takedown that gets a single leg but can't complete it. Poirier still trying to hang on. Islam gets him down, but Poirier on both knees in the center of the octagon. Standing up, Islam now into mount. Trying to anyway. Just kind of holding on to Poirier. 2.5 minutes to go. So halfway through the 5th and final round. Islam's got to choke in on Poirier. And that's it. Islam gets the submission of Dustin Poirier. He's kind of rolled him over. Had the choke in. As he just wore Poirier down and was able to get that submission. It all happened pretty quick. Just kind of rolled Poirier over into a choke. And able to get the tap. So we'll kind of stick with it for a little bit before we get to the rest of the show. We'll talk about the rest of the card and the rest of the schedule coming up. But I was glad to see this one didn't go to the scorecards. Great fight. 5 rounds. And it's Khabib there to pull Poirier up off the mat. And Khabib and Poirier still talking right now. Poirier and Islam hugging in the center of the octagon right now. I'd be really curious to see what those scorecards look like, though. See if we were right with 2 apiece going into that last round. We're going to stick with it till the end of till the announcement comes. I just want to see what else happens. So he sweeps the leg of Poirier and then grabs the chin and then gets him to the ground. Still kind of has a hold of the chin. And then gets the tap there. So had the arm and the chin pinned. Got the tap. Kind of a modified triangle choke there. So we get the announcement from Buffer, and then we'll get on to the rest of the show. If anybody's got anything, if you're in there, you want to leave a comment or question, then let us know. We'll talk about anything that happened tonight. Just wait for Buffer to announce it, make it official. And there it is. So I'm going to turn that off. Don't want to make sure I don't get anything in there. So show you those cards while I move the camera back around. Get back to my normal spot. All right. So I think that's about as good as it's going to get tonight. A little makeshift. Moving around the studio. So here we go. Right after the main event. Instant reaction from UFC 302, Newark, New Jersey. Islam Makhachev defends the lightweight title against Dustin Poirier, the number 4 ranked contender. And you heard Poirier say it, if you're watching, you heard Poirier say it himself in the pre-fight interview that this was probably his last shot. And he took his shot and made the most of it. All 5 rounds. He gets subbed out in the 5th round with about 2 minutes to go. So what a warrior, what a career. But Islam Makhachev, just the pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet right now, and adds another just notch in that belt of the killers that he has put away. So what a great performance by Makhachev. And we don't have to go into the main event so much. here because we just talked about the whole thing as we watched it unfold. So be interesting to see what's next for Islam. Had a lot of eyes on this fight. You saw Arman Tsarukyan in the crowd. So he didn't get the best reception, but he was there. So we'll see what's next for Islam. He's talked about moving up and challenging for another belt, taking on Leon. So we'll see if that comes to pass. But like I said, since we talked about the main event the whole time, we'll just go ahead and move through the rest of the card. So co-main event, and then what a ridiculous result. Is the right winner at least. Number one contender in the middleweight division, Sean Strickland, former champion, defeating Paulo Costa, the number 7 ranked contender, by a split decision, but scorecards were all over the place. One judge had Strickland 50-45, which I think was the right card, and another judge had Costa 49-46. I don't think Costa won a round. Maybe give him one, give him the 5th, maybe. And to give him 3, or give him 4, actually, that's absurd. So Strickland got it done. He's a machine, and really took it to Costa. No matter what that card says, that judge's scorecard says, Strickland had more significant strikes in every single round. So even the stat sheet backs that up. I mean, I know that's not always the final determining factor of who won a round, but this isn't boxing. But they did box the entire time. Nobody took anybody down. So Sean Strickland with a great win. He wants Dricus du Plessis next. He wants a title shot. He said he was the company man in this fight by taking on Costa. So he deserves that next title shot. So we'll have to see, because I'm sure that there's a Dricus du Plessis Israel Adesanya match coming soon, hopefully. That is announced soon. We'll see where that would fit in on some of these cards. So maybe we'll see that down the road. And then you see Strickland and the winner of that matchup later on. So I don't think it's going to be Strickland du Plessis before du Plessis and Adesanya. So let's just hit the highlights of the rest of the card. So interesting one, 15th ranked Kevin Holland, middleweight matchup here against Michael Oleksiejczuk. And this was crazy. Oleksiejczuk knocked Holland down, and as he goes down and it gets over aggressive, Holland grabs the arm and I mean, it's called the technical submission, but Holland thought he had broken Oleksiejczuk's arm, and so Herb Dean stopped the fight. Oleksiejczuk didn't like it, but everybody could tell that there's something wasn't right. Either he dislocated it, broke it, but that was going to happen either way. So I don't think there's any argument there. There doesn't need to be any argument. You know it in the heat of the moment. You didn't want to give up. You didn't tap out. But, man, you got to protect your future there. That arm was going to break. And so, you didn't like the stoppage, but, it's for your own good. And that's what the referees are there for, to save you from yourself sometimes. And so we'll see if there's any damage done, and then he'll say, yeah, I'm glad I just dislocated it or tore something instead of just having it clean broken. So a good win for Kevin Holland, and really one of the few finishes we had tonight. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3 finishes, and no knockouts tonight. That's pretty interesting. Also on the main card, Nico Price defeating Alex Morono for the second time via unanimous decision. Morono just looked gassed in the third round. So he just had nothing left. And, this is a welterweight matchup. Morono is one of our guys, too. He trains here where I live. His gym is right around the corner from where my kids have swim practice. So kind of watch out and see what Alex Morono's up to and enjoy watching him fight. But just something wasn't right there in the third round. So we got a question from Crescent Moon, who's winning, bro, Dustin or Islam? So Islam won by a submission. 2 minutes left in the fight. So we got the triangle choke with 2 minutes to go. So Islam remains your lightweight champion. So then, as we keep going, to finish off the main card, Randy Brown defeated Ilizu Zaleski dos Santos, welterweight matchup, unanimous decision. So that was pretty good fight. I thought Randy Brown won the first and the third round. Another good middleweight matchup, Roman Kopylov with a nice win against Cesar Almeida. Split decision, but Kopylov, he won that fight. I don't know why this was on the prelims and why it wasn't even the featured prelim. But heavyweight matchup between number 7 Jailton Almeida and number 13 Alexander Romanov. This was one of the other finishes of the night. Almeida finishing Romanov with a submission in the first round. So that's a big win for Almeida. And kind of get back on track after a loss. So look for him to kind of, start moving up. And hopefully that division gets going this year and some of these guys can be more active. It's just kind of hard when there's a log jam at the top and nobody's fighting. With the John Jones injury, Stipe only wanting to fight for a title, and Aspinall actually, sitting there holding the belt, but wants John Jones to unify the belts because, there's no reason for Aspinall to take another fight, even though he has one, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's just more of a pride thing for Aspinall and just to stay busy. So we'll see Almeida, see what happens there with him. Grant Dawson getting a unanimous decision over Joe Selecki. It was a good win for Dawson. Jake Matthews over Phil Rowe, unanimous decision with welterweight matchup. Basil Hafez, Mickey Gall was a great fight. I didn't know that it was going to be that great of a fight. But Hafez just kind of swings wild. And I thought he was more composed in his debut in a loss. But he's got to be seasoned a little bit more. But Basil Hafez gets a unanimous decision, winning two rounds to 1. Then you kind of finish this off. Eileen Perez defeating Jocelyn Edwards. The only women's fight on the card, bantamweight matchup. A unanimous decision, and Eileen Perez, she's shown with Paulo Costa earlier this week that she was going to do some dancing if she won. Costa begged her to and gave a lot of fans what they hoped for. If you haven't seen that video, I would go check that out. See her dancing after her win. And just to finish it off, the whole card, Andre Lima defeating Mitch Raposo in a flyweight matchup by a split decision. So that wraps up UFC 302. So let's get to the rest of the schedule coming up. So I've got Fight Night next week from Louisville, Kentucky. And middleweight matchup will headline this one. Number 4 ranked Jared Cannonier against number 8 Nasruddin Imavov. So a nice little matchup there. Cannonier, he kind of is the Fight Night headliner. So getting another chance here. Then the co-main event, light heavyweight matchup, number 15 Dominic Reyes against Dustin Jacoby. And we see this fight that was delayed a little bit, bantamweight matchup, Raul Rosas Jr. against Ricky Tercio. So that's a big one. See what else is on this card. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks, so don't have to go through everything. So those are the highlights, the top 3. But I'm sure the rest will be entertaining as well. So then we get to Fight Night on June 15th from the Apex. Number 5 Alex Perez, number 13 Tatsuro Taira in a flyweight matchup. So this one was moved off of a main card and made a main event for a Fight Night. Not the strongest card. They filled that one out over the last couple of weeks. So we've got 12th ranked Tagir Ulanbekov against Joshua Van in a flyweight matchup. So a lot of flyweights on that card. Jimmy Flick and Nate Maness, so we enjoy seeing Jimmy Flick back in action. So whenever we have a Jimmy Flick fight announcement, we got to break out the Jimmy Flick autograph card. Appreciate Jimmy sending that back to us. So big collector of his own cards. So that is June 15th. And like I said, we'll be live right after those end. Another fight night on June 22nd from Saudi Arabia. That's a big one. Another middleweight headliner. Number 3, Robert Whitaker. Number 10, Khamzat Chimaev. So a huge fight there. Heavyweight co-main event. Number 3, Sergey Pavlovich. Number 5, Alexander Volkov. So you could see Jailton Almeida facing the winner of that fight. Just the way that stacks up. Light heavyweight matchup, number 7, Johnny Walker. Number 9, Volkan Ozdemir. Kelvin Gastelum, Daniel Rodriguez in a welterweight matchup. Sharo Magomedov is back in action. Let's see what else is on that card. Anything of note? I do like this fight. Just gonna, I think he was a rising star. Just kind of got caught last time out. So Renat Fakhretdinov against Nicholas Dalby. So looking forward to that. Then we get to UFC 303, June 29th from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. The next pay-per-view 4 weeks from now. And obviously this is huge. This has been a year and a half in the making. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler in a welterweight matchup. Absolutely huge. So we'll be looking forward to that one here at the end of the month as we start off day 1 here of June. And then we get to finish off the month with that. And it's just something to look forward to. Looking forward to it. So then we got Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg in the co-main light heavyweight matchup. Hill, former champion, number 3 ranked. Ulberg, number 11, has looked just sensational his last couple of fights. And women's bantamweight matchup, number 3, Mayra Bueno Silva against number 7, Macy Chiasson. Joe Pyfer, Marc-Andre Barrios, a middleweight matchup. Welterweight matchup between number 7, Ian Machado Gary, and number 13, Michael Page. So just a huge card, top to bottom. That's going to be fun. That's going to be awesome. So looking forward to that. Fight night, July 20th in Las Vegas is skipping a couple of weeks there where there's nothing going on. I guess after International Fight Week, you kind of got to take a little bit of time off. But they're probably going to be one event before this one. But they don't have anything scheduled yet. But there is the date held there for a fight night on July 20th from the Apex. So then we got UFC 304, July 27th in Manchester. The welterweight champion Leon Edwards against Bilal Muhammad. Interim heavyweight championship matchup between Tom Aspinall and number 4 Curtis Blades. That's the only loss for Tom Aspinall. That came via injury a couple of years ago. So Aspinall trying to avenge the only loss on his record, and Curtis Blades trying to legitimize that win he has over Tom Aspinall. So it'll be a good fight there. Lightweight matchup between number 15 Bobby Green and Paddy Pimblett. Featherweight matchup, number 6 Arnold Allen, number 9 Giga Chikadze. And go down the list a little bit. A flyweight matchup between number 6 Muhammad Makhachev and number 7 Manel Kape. Molly McCann back in action. She'll be taking on Bruno Brazil. So fun night to be had in the UK for UFC 304. Fight night on August 3rd in Abu Dhabi. That one announced this week. Bantamweight matchup, number 2 Corey Sandhagen, number 10 Umar Nurmagomedov. The return of Nick Diaz at this event in Abu Dhabi. Welterweight matchup between number 14 Vicente Luque and Nick Diaz. Is the co-main event right now. Good bantamweight matchup. Number 4 Marlon Chito Vera against number 6 Davison Figueiredo. Women's strawweight matchup, number 7 Mackenzie Dern, number 10 Lupe Godinez. And we got Tony Ferguson taking on Michael Chiesa in a welterweight matchup. So nothing else on the schedule after that. They do have events scheduled, just no fights yet. UFC 305, August 17th from Perth, Australia. So you may target Dracus du Plessis, Israel Adesanya for that one. I would kind of look at that for that one. That would just make the most sense to me. Maybe a Volkanovski on the undercard on the co-main if he's healthy. That would be pretty sick. So we'll see what happens there. So fight night, September 28th in Paris, and UFC 308, October 26th in Abu Dhabi. So October, you can see Islam coming back. So it's June. Yeah, that can make sense. Islam in Abu Dhabi in October. See what can be put together. I mean, he doesn't fight a whole lot, and so you kind of got to catch him at the right time, and Poirier did. So it's a great fight. Once again tonight, it lived up to the billing and capped off a great event. So good fight, good card, and looking forward to this month. Big one. You know, we're going to get through. I mean, there's some good fight night cards coming up. Next week's is decent. The one after that, but the one on June 22nd is pretty incredible for a fight night, and then that leads into UFC 303. So yeah, it's going to be a good month of June, and we hope that you join us here every week here on the UFC Fight Cards podcast. We're here after every event. Now, we've started doing these instant reactions, so I'm going to show a few of the cards we have left. We do have a Islam Makhachev lot remaining. So we do have this teal numbered to 49 from 2023 Prism, and it gets you all these other Islam cards as well, even back to a 2020. Let's kind of do the quick show of his coach. He was actually in the corner tonight. Might have helped pull this one out. So what we have is we pulled this a couple of years ago, and it was damaged, and so we sent it off and finally got it back. So this is Octagon side tie-dye from 2022 from Select, and got it back. Or is that 20? That's right, it was 22. From Select, and numbered to 25, got that back. So we have that, and we also have this Habib Tools of the Trade auto, numbered to 49. You got the 3 swatches there, and that'll get you this whole stack of Habib cards. So there's a couple other numbered Habib cards in here as well. I can pull all those out. So if you're interested, just let me know. You can reach us here at the show. You can email me, russ@orange-fire.com. You can visit our website at orange-fire.com and visit our eBay store, Orange Fire Lots of Lots. We have a lot of stuff listed there on eBay, and we'll be listing more here soon because I don't have that Islam lot listed yet. Habib is up there. Also got some Hamzat and some Shavkat Rakhmonov cards that we need to put up there. So that was a lot of fun. I appreciate you joining us here as we watched the main event together and then got into our normal show right after that. But it was a lot of fun doing it that way tonight instead of just sitting there and trying to talk about it later. We got to go through it together, and appreciate you stopping by here. So join us next week after the card from Louisville. And that'll be next Saturday, Jared Cannonier, Nasruddin Imavov, and we will be right here after that ends. And you can catch us every weekend that there is a UFC event right here on YouTube, and then on all the audio platforms. Sometimes immediately following, just depending on the platform, it may show up the next day, but we're on all the major platforms, so just check us out here. I am Russ Renaud. This is the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. And have a good night and a great rest of the weekend, and we will see you next week.